Hi, welcome back to the Idaho 4 Bryan Kohberger case. Today we're looking at the latest news and this supposed alibi that's come on out in defense of Kohberger to prove his innocence. We're simply going to read through an article, analyze if needed. You yourself can share your own thoughts, opinions, comments down below, as well as if you're currently here in the live chat. Regarding previous videos I've covered, you want to catch up on the Dylan Rounds case, the latest never talked about news ever until recently. Links down below, as well as some additional links if you wish to click on them and view them, okay? But right here, right now, we're looking at the Idaho 4 case. As for the last one I did, the last video I covered, maybe we can look at the comment section. But I think to kick things off, it makes more sense to look at the latest news first of all. So let's see what this alibi is, because we heard about it recently, right? Said that it was coming on in, and that this supposed alibi tied in with maybe a cross-examination. Does that still apply? Well, let's find out and read this latest article. So the title of this article reads, Lawyer for Idaho college killing suspect Bryan Kohberger says he was driving alone night of murders. In quotes, often he would go for drives at night and did so that night, his lawyer said. This was August 3rd, 2023, most recent. I picked this article specifically. There was one of today created, but it waffled on about too much of the past. This is more focused. 7-minute read. Oh, at least it estimates it. Okay. So, first off, it says, the lawyer for Bryan Kohberger says he was driving alone at night during the murders of the event. The man accused of killing 4 Idaho college students last fall says he wasn't in the home where the homicides occurred and was driving around alone that night, according to a new court filing. August Frank Pool via images. Okay, so there's an image somewhere on here. But because we've got it in reader mode, the images don't show up. Right, so in some people's eyes, Bryan Kohberger's excuse to explain why his supposed vehicle, the Elantra, was within the area was because he was going on a drive. Okay, so the distance between where he lives and where he was within at the time of the crime is a bit of distance. Is that normal for Kohberger to be doing that long distance driving late at night? I don't think so. But like, in a way, what other excuse could you come out with, right? You know, if you're going to defend Kohberger or Kohberger's trying to defend himself, you got to come up with some kind of reasoning, right? So it's still kind of valid and realistic. So it does suggest and prove why you're kind of within the area, roughly speaking, but you've got another reason to be there. But is it a bit coincidental and a bit of BS tied in as well? Yeah. But, you know, if you believe Kohberger is innocent, feel free to share your thoughts down below as to what you think about this. Do you think it's normal? Do you think this is what Kohberger would normally do? Go on long drives by himself? It's just because I thought, I don't know, the way it was worded previously, that the alibi tied in with a cross-examination across board of other people, witnesses. And yet the way it's worded here is, Kohberger driving alone, so there's no one else present to, you know, explain behind Bryan Kohberger's behaviour and actions on the night. I know, is it doubling back on itself or so? Anyway, let's just continue reading. Bryan Kohberger, the doctoral candidate accused, last fall, says he wasn't in the home where the homicides occurred and was driving around alone that night, according to a court new filing. Kohberger's lawyer said the defense cannot be more specific about what witnesses would say to back up that claim at this time, but that would emerge amid examination of discovery materials as well as what witnesses will say during the upcoming trial. Okay, fine, fair enough. So it's still in play. Witnesses still there, that they could provide a bit more context behind it, but it can't be discussed at this moment in time. Fair enough. It's just a matter of, await and see what happens next, right, for the next upcoming trial, which is, I believe, October the 2nd. So some time away. Okay. I wonder what those witnesses would have to say. Oh, you were walking by the sidewalk or you were crossing the lights and noticed your Elantra driving past. I mean, I don't know, it's just a bit messy. I mean, the fact that Kohberger's DNA, although not a lot, was on that knife sheath, which just so happens to be in the house, the home, where the murders took place, and for Bryan Kohberger to be within the area as well, driving about or stationary, regardless, just one thing ties to another. If you are genuinely in a situation where you're in that area at the time and DNA does link to you at that spot, but it was planted, as the defence team have previously hinted upon, then it's like, bad place, wrong time, unfortunate situation. But how likely is it here when there's a lot of dots that seem to link to one another? And, would some people be just treating it as one giant coincidence that Kohberger was simply driving through the area on a drive all by himself, and somehow his DNA reached inside of the house by somebody else trying to frame him on that specific day that Kohberger was within the area? It just seems to be very coincidental if that was the case. Hard to believe, in a sense. Let me know your thoughts, though, down below. Anything else? So, saying that Discovery Materials, what, CCTV footage of the Elantra driving past, maybe? Timestamps, maybe? Yeah, really, that's the only thing you could say. If there's a specific timestamp of when the murders took place and Kohberger just so happens to be within the area but actively driving on the road at the timestamp which meets up with the death of the people in the house, then you could say that Kohberger played no real part, if you wanted to match it up that way. Anyway, let's continue reading. Attorneys for Kohberger explained in the new court document submitted Wednesday and released Thursday that the man charged in the quadruple killing that has made headlines for months would often drive around solo. In quotes, Mr. Kohberger has long had a habit of going for drives alone. Often he would go for drives at night. He did so late on November 12th and into November 13th, 2022. Kohberger's attorney, Anna Taylor wrote, Mr. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. At this time, there is not a specific witness to say precisely where Mr. Kohberger was at each moment of the hours between the late night November the 12th, 2022 and early morning November 13th, 2022. He was out driving during the late night and early morning hours of November the 12th to the 13th, 2022. Right, so can't be too specific, can't align this with that event happening at the same time. Not enough evidence at this moment, or not having the ability yet until the witnesses start talking. And that discovery material shows. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I can understand why some people would be skeptical, trying to rummage around for the best excuse to explain why you would be within the area at that time, trying to come up with some kind of explanation. Do people besides Kohberger out there go on drives by themselves? Yeah, it's a normal thing. Do some people do it late at night? Yeah, it can be a normal thing. Maybe because it's the only time in the day they're able to do so, or they just find it more relaxing at night, or they find it a bit more spooky. Yeah. But then when you got Kohberger and that DNA in the house, I mean, if Kohberger's DNA on the knife sheath never existed, then maybe you could believe more in the alibi, right? I know some people could probably say, well, then how would we even be here with Kohberger in the first place then, besides the knife sheath? Yeah, but, depends how you look at it. Anything else? It's June 27th. Okay, courtroom, that's just capture now. Information about Kohberger's driving habit comes in response to prosecution requests to explain whether his lawyers would claim at trial that their client had an alibi for where he was on the night of the murders and the specific location where he claims to have been instead. but he's not given a specific location yet, so kind of gone backwards on itself. In quotes, Idaho, interestingly, is one of the few states which require the defense to present the prosecution with notice of an intent to run an alibi defense. It appears the defense is doing their best to satisfy this legal requirement, said ABC News legal contributor Matt Murphy, a former prosecutor in Orange County, California. In quotes, in a death penalty case, the court will certainly give them wide latitude in exploring and developing any defense their investigation indicates may be exculpatory. In the world of alibi defenses, however, the "I was out driving alone but nobody saw me" defense is going to be a very tough sell to a deaf qualified jury given these facts. True. It just seems like a cheap, easy way out kind of excuse to throw about. Unless that the witnesses can provide further context, could sway in a different direction, we'll see. In court documents made public Thursday objecting to the prosecution's request, Kohberger's attorney said he has compiled to the extent possible at this time. Taylor said the prosecution's motion to compel an alibi is an attempt to force the defense to open its work product files and let the state peek inside. According to the court filing, the defense has stated all that can firmly be stated at this time. This is not trial by ambush from the defense. The defense's new filing reads. Kohberger's lawyer wrote she anticipates corroborating witnesses would back up his explanation, adding corroboration of Kohberger not being at 1122 King may be brought out through cross-examination of the state's witnesses and through expert witness presentation. Okay, that analysis is underway. So there's a level of confidence there that it can be backed up. So Kohberger, or the defense, the lawyers team, their weak claim that Kohberger had a different reason for being out there may be reinforced at a cross-examination and the witnesses. Well, it's just a matter of we'll wait and see. ABC News has reached out to Latah County leading to the case. Okay. Kohberger charged. Yeah. We've seen all this before. Yeah. Yeah. October 2nd, next one. This just basically was the recount of the story. That always seems to happen with these news articles. The new stuff is mentioned at the top, and then lower down it's regurgitated. I guess it's not a bad thing. You know, if you're new to the case or you're catching up on things, you get reminded of what's previously been found, talked about. Fair enough. So with that being said, what I want to transition on to now is the comments of my last video coverage on the Idaho 4 case. Never looked at those comments or answered some of the questions, etc. No harm in looking back now, acknowledge the people and acknowledge the latest comments as well as additional interesting information. And then after that, I guess we can reach a conclusion of this video. Okay, I'm just going to adjust the comments to the nearest, start from the bottom. We haven't got too many to get through. Cleo there, satisfied with the previous video coverage. Yeah, the emojis have increased in size. Don't know if anyone else is aware of that. I'm really not sure why. I do prefer it. It is better, true. A very interesting video. By the way, you know I'll be on time tomorrow, right? Camera angle. Cat loves ASMR. Looks like someone needs attention in here. Not you, Ref. Ha ha ha, below me. So Cat loves ASMR is referring to Cleo. Right, here's this person. Okay, user default profile once again. It would be helpful if you did not speak in the same dull tone all the time. Try to sound more energetic and not so dreary and monotonous. Try to watch some other true crime creators and learn how they inject humour to make their videos more interesting. Well, the thing is, user, with regards to maintaining a level of balance and focus and, you know, being appropriate to what's being covered at that moment in time, sometimes it's not worth smiling or jumping about, putting makeup on and looking like a clown at the same time whilst talking about a case. How can you maintain that level of seriousness or credibility? You can't. It becomes a mockery. But in terms of splitting it down the middle, transitioning on from one to another, clearly, user, default profile, if you actually bothered looking at my previous video, I went from talking about the case of a missing person that's been murdered, true crime, then transitioning on to being put in a leg lock by a stuffed dummy in the representation of a viewer on my channel who needed a massage on the leg due to their tendon being very sore and damaged, and I was there with my healing hands to fix her. So I think I've got it under control, okay? I don't think you have with that dead end channel. What's this one? Tree Niner. I have no issue with your presentation. However, the 3.6 million view defense is really not a good one given. Anyone can purchase views. I'm no way suggesting you are purchasing views. I'm simply pointing out the facts. Have a good one. So what are the facts to begin with? The 3.6 million view defense isn't good because it's possibly down to purchasing views, but then you contradict yourself by saying, well, in no way I'm suggesting you are purchasing views. So what was the point in mentioning that statement observation in the first place? Seems like a waste of time to me. You get what I'm saying? Purchasing views, what's the point? Purchasing subscribers, what's the point? Reality is if you used to purchase views, you'd be getting significantly more, right? I mean, let's just check your channel out, Niner. I have no clue who you are. Looks like you're from the US. No surprise there. 0 videos, 0 contribution to the true crime community. Joined 23rd November 2022. 7,764 views. I mean, we could argue and say, Brent Slater, maybe you bought views because, look, you got a dead-end channel, no public viewable videos, and yet you got 7,764 views. What are you doing, hypocrite? See, this is what I mean. These are the types of degenerates we come across with time, and it doesn't just apply exclusively to the Dylan Rounds case, it can apply further afar. The thing is, Niner, it's very obvious you really, really severely lack reasoning ability, and you have no clue, no understanding whatsoever of my channel foundations and format structure. In terms of trying to take you seriously right now, it's pretty difficult to do so. The fact that the way you've constructed your sentence, coming out with an assumption or some kind of rough, rugged observation, a possibility that it's because of this, which isn't really much of a line to use in response to a previous comment, but then you go back on yourself by saying, well, I'm not saying that is the case, but then why are you saying it in the first place? It's a waste of time, isn't it? What a prat you are. Typical. Is it a male? Wouldn't be surprised. We got Cleo here. Warlight Raf, thank you for giving me the privilege to share content you have created. I still have so much to upload. Also, hopefully I can talk on the video soon. Yikes, beware of that voice. I just want to donate, contribute any way I can, and simply spread awareness for the voiceless. Once again, thank you. Shout out to Cleo. Good individual as part of it. Present most of the time. Never causes any trouble in the chat, to that extent, not with intent. Yeah, no issues there, There we go. Skeptical, shout out to Skeptical, another very good individual. Skeptical saying, hi, Warlight Raf, catching up, always happy you're here. Brett Kopaka has nothing to do with Idaho 4 case. Only coincidence, BK, Bryan Kohberger, and Brett both owned different Elantras. Okay, thanks for clearing that up. Brett's was silver. He lived in Pullman, Washington, near the university and crime scene. On the same day, Bryan Kohberger and his father were pulled over by police, December 15th. Brett was shot by SWAT after holding his roommates hostage and threatening to kill them. Bryan Kohberger's father mentions this shooting to the officer in the body cam footage. The public tried finding a connection between Brett and Idaho 4 because of the Elantra, but the police were already focused on Bryan Kohberger. Brett Kopaka was a decorated war veteran with PTSD. Okay, fair enough. When I first heard Bryan Kohberger and a setup, my thought was the defense may try to prove with reasonable doubt, LE used DNA found on the items from Bryan Kohberger's parents' trash can and transferring to the sheath. Oh, that way round. Because Bryan Kohberger's DNA was not in the system, they needed to gain his DNA and / or family's DNA through the trash. They then used that DNA along with genealogy database to match Bryan Kohberger, which is unorthodox in crime investigation. Perhaps this is why defence asked for training records for the lead investigators. Okay, interesting way of wording it, that. I've not really seen it mentioned like that before. As for an alibi, in my opinion, another defence move to put doubt into minds that may be on the jury for reasonable doubt may turn out to be nothing, explained away by the prosecution. I can't believe otherwise, but I can be shocked if the defence evidence proves otherwise, but not by dishonest tactics. Thank you for your analysis, the RAF report. Shout out, thanks for leaving this long comment and wording it very well. Very good. Good thoughts. But yeah, sceptical. Let me know your thoughts right now after hearing a portion of that alibi revealed. Okay? Autism Without Limits. Well, hello. Like the other cool people on this Friday night, I was watching Star Trek and I saw the trailer for the 4th season of Never Seen Again. It's a true crime docuseries on Paramount Plus about missing people. I think I've heard that before. This series will feature a 2-part episode about Dylan Rounds. I can't find the trailer on YouTube yet, so maybe I'll try to upload it later. There are a few shots related to Dylan Rounds' episode in this trailer for season 4. This is what I caught. Close up, Candice Cooley getting emotional after saying, "Some days I wake up and pretend it's not real. Other days you just can't." Wide shot. A dog walking in front of Kurt's backhoe and the grain shed in Lucerne. Medium shot. A boot laying on top of dirt and rocks. Close up. Justin Rounds in a somber mood saying, "We're not ever gonna give up until we find him." Close up. Nate Eaton from East Idaho News interview announcing murder. Wide shot. Candice Cooley standing and holding a picture of Dylan in front of an old yellow farming tractor. The trailer showed shots from 8 different cases, so these shots are edited and mixed up with them. I think I listed all the clips for the Dylan Rounds episodes in this trailer. This series premieres on August 8th, and here is the episode list. Episode 1 and 2, Kristen Galvan. Episode 3, Dane Elkins. Episode 4, Echo Lloyd. Episode 5, Justin Rutter. Episode 6, Irene Gorka. Episodes 7 and 8, Dylan Rounds. Episode 9, Pepita Redhair. And 10, Aubrey Dameron. The trailer is available on Paramount Plus, but if you can't see it, let me know. I think I tried going on Paramount Plus maybe once and it didn't seem to load. But then again, maybe it was HLN, something completely different. Obviously, I'll have to look myself, okay? And I'll let you know. I'll have to include this within the title of this video, although not related to Idaho 4. I'll have to make an exception and include it because the comments listed here. I'm surprised No Limits never mentioned it on the Dylan Rounds video page, but it's still good of him to leave the comment here. You see how comments can be missed, right? That's why I've got to include it in the title now. So there we go. Okay, so we got what's this person called? I forgot their username. Does it show? Bandit Network TV. Shout out to Bandit Network. Bandit says something about BF catches the eye of Kohberger's defense. I wouldn't be surprised if she appears as his alibi. BF is one of the surviving roommates and was allegedly on the first floor of the house at the time of the murders. Then again, he could not have an alibi, and that is just another tactic possibly used by his defense team to raise reasonable doubt. You would think if he had one, somebody would speak out by now. Thanks for your coverage. Okay. We'll see what this cross-examination involves when it eventually comes about, October 2nd, and go from there. And last comment. Brent is a deceased veteran, but he and Bryan were both from PA. They also moved to Pullman, Washington, but were never associated with each other. At least it hasn't been confirmed. He died in a police standoff roughly 1 month after the Moscow murders because he was threatening to shoot his roommates at the coffee house apartment complex. Okay, kind of ties in line with Skeptical's comment. That's good. So we've got consistency there. Looks like we've reached the end of these comments. It was definitely worth looking at, especially this one about the documentary. Wow, it's good how he summarised it too. That's very good. So there you go, just wanted to share that all with you. Hopefully as many people see this, both to do with the coverage of Idaho 4 Bryan Kohberger, of course, but also that comment by Autism No Limits. Be sure to like, share the video if you want to, okay? Feel free to check my previous videos out, as well as the video I did earlier on tonight, because I believe I did 2 tonight in total. So yeah, hopefully as many people see this, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. If it does, it'll be unfortunate and kind of disheartening, but just one of those unfortunate it is what it is moments. Maybe it happens too often. But yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Goodbye and good night.